The wait has been long and hard for me because all I like to do is play franchise mode in NHL 22 every single year. And now it's time. Now we get a look at franchise mode plus Be a Pro. Be a Pro, which I don't touch as much. Franchise mode is my jam. And of course, as you can see by the title already, oh man, like they have some things in the works that will be available a few months into NHL 22. But before I get into any of that, let's go fresh into this. I've never seen any of this footage yet. So here we go.
Welcome to the third installment of our NHL 22 in-depth series. Today we're diving into Be a Pro and franchise mode. Before we get started, just a reminder that our final video will be dropping on October 6th, one day before early access is live with EA Play. So there's a lot of info coming in these next few days, so stay locked to our YouTube and other social channels. With that out of the way, let's get right into the content. I'm happy to be joined by Gurn, who spans across Be a Pro and franchise mode on the NHL series. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm hoping today you can talk us through what's new with Be a Pro and franchise mode, and a special surprise at the end that we can share with people.
Oh man.
Sounds good. So this year with Be a Pro, obviously with the rest of the game having Superstar XFactors in there, what we wanted to do was kind of enhance the Be a Pro experience with that feature. So we've added in around roughly 300 new conversations as a part of content, as a part of long-term storylines, which were something that we wanted to add into the game so that you're able to have multi-year challenges, kind of be able to really...
I'm happy about that. The Nasher's not going to have the same thing. Let's go to the museum! The real ones know that.
So starting with your build archetype, how are the XFactor abilities affecting this? Because as you see with each archetype, there's an XFactor ability tied to it. Do you now sort of unlock that ability right when you start your Be a Pro career?
Good question. So yes and no. Essentially, these archetypes each have an XFactor that's kind of unique to that specific archetype. And what we ended up deciding on, what we wanted to do is not necessarily give you the XFactor right away, but what we want you to go through is a shorter term storyline that you need to go through that spans over the course of a few games, and then you're able to unlock one of these XFactors as your first XFactor that you gain as a part of your NHL career. And that storyline then spans into the second year of your career.
So you talked about those new storylines. Can you walk us through sort of how you unlock XFactors and how that all works?
Of course. So we're in the brand new ability screen. And the first thing you'll notice at the very top here is you have a zone ability slot, and then you have 5 superstar ability slots. And each of these are...
I want to see how this plays into franchise mode.
So
not too sold on it yet, but I can see in certain instances how it can come into play in franchise mode with some rookies who I'm trying to build up to be bigger stars. So it's possible that this could have a huge impact on it.
Once you have an XFactor slot unlocked, you're then able to use one of the XFactors that you have available for this specific archetype. So each XFactor is attached to a specific storyline. Some of these storylines are part 1 of a storyline, some others are part 2 or part 3 of another storyline. But at a certain point in time, you will be able to unlock these XFactors via that specific storyline. So as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner where you see the view challenge progress, this says regular customer / divisional enthusiast part 3. And that information right there kind of tells you how to trigger that storyline to unlock this specific XFactor that is Wheels. On top of that, we also will show you kind of what this XFactor does as a zone ability, as a superstar ability.
I wonder if that's the same for people who are playing franchise mode, who play through every minute of every single game. I do average 5 minutes a period. I play all 82 games, play 3 to 4 seasons, so we'll see how that goes. That doesn't include, obviously, preseason playoff games.
Rookie season was the focus for 22 to get these storylines to expand over just your first season?
So, we obviously take feedback seriously, and we did know that through the community, a big pain point was just having a lot of the focus around the rookie season. There were some stuff that would come past year 1 last year, but it was more milestone-based achievements. So this year, we really wanted to kind of drive home that, hey, there is more than just your rookie season. So Well, there's roughly about 10 different storylines here, and each of them do span past one season. Some span almost 10 in some cases, some of the harder ones, that is. So once you unlock, say, something along the lines of Ultimate Champion, you're now trying to break the record for the most Stanley Cups won by a player. So there are things here that we make you try to push for and achieve that do go past that first rookie season. Some of these will unlock depending on how well you play or how poorly you play in that first season, but most of these will start unlocking in season 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, I really hope this goes in,
That the conversation system
plays
has
into
been
franchise mode.
expanded. How do the new storylines
Especially
and
because
X-Factors
I'm going to be
play
playing as the Canucks. If you guys are wondering, yeah, Canucks are my favorite team. I want to build pods into a pretty decent power forward. Him playing with, a Horvat would be pretty nice. Horvat is, physical, pretty physical as well, but having another one on his wing, similar to like a Brady Tkachuk, I would love that. But I don't know if Pods is gonna be close to being a Brady Tkachuk type player. Brady Tkachuk has consistently over the past few seasons had top 5 in shots and top 5 in hits, but also produces every now and then, scores a pretty decent goal, similar to like Matthew Tkachuk, who can hit and shoot as well. So yeah, it just depends, like I might end up trading for a few players that I probably shouldn't go for, to be completely honest, because they're gonna probably be pretty pricey. Because I do need to make sure that I'm able to play for
in this case, you're looking at the journey begins.
Signed contracts in the future for rookies, because I try to play them as well as I can, right? So let's focus on this for now.
In those 5 games. And this is a very starting storyline, so it is a very easy storyline to kind of get your foot wet into, kind of dip your toe into the water.
I like the visuals. They did bump it up quite a bit. It's not just something basic, him sitting there. You see like the camera from like the lower up to his face kind of thing. You kind of see the locker room now. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
More complex storylines, you're going to be having to make a choice. So what we want to do is going to make sure that the user knows that, hey, I'm picking the storyline. So we'll see that blue highlight as well as the storyline button to kind of pick from, so that you're not accidentally entering a storyline or not rushing through and clicking through and not picking a storyline that you don't want to be a part of. And the other thing is, if you choose to opt out of a storyline, which is a possibility, say if you don't want to partake in our Conn Smythe storyline or a storyline that allows you to opt out, you will be able to go back into that storyline at a later time by having a conversation that you can trigger with the coach or media or whomever it may be.
That's pretty cool.
Manually from the main.
Like if you don't want to talk about a certain thing right now, you want to build your character, off the ice kind of thing. That would be nice to come later on and talk about the Conn Smythe thing, because a lot of people don't really think about the awards that much, and that's the type of player I would be. But at the same time, I'm not much of a BPLO player. I'm just excited to see what franchise mode is all about. We'll see how much I can get into the other EA games as well, like FIFA and such, which I love doing manager mode in there. But as far as NHL goes, yeah, I'll probably do an episodic series of sorts. Probably do some like a one video about like a fantasy draft where I go through a fantasy draft and draft players and such. But yeah, we'll see. It all comes down to trade value, not trade, like potential, right? So that's kind of what I look at in the combination of the trade value, because that kind of will tell you what players are better pickups. So yeah, it just really comes down to not only necessarily choosing the best players, but getting enough players that will get you through a round or two, right?
Just to kind of tie into all these longer term storylines that we have, so you're able to kind of earn a management like ability at a slower pace. But if you complete all these challenges, you'll be not as quick as last year, but certainly it'll take you a year or 2 or 3 to kind of fill up these meters if you just stick down the same path and complete all the challenges the first time through. So So we wanted to make that progression feel longer, and then also with the
Lighting looks pretty nice,
we wanted to make that feel
and
more
I'm glad it's
so
like
that
60
it does take a lot longer
frames per second.
become a gold-level
Because
legacy
well,
player.
at least I know
So that
FIFA
will
is.
now take you
I
a
should
long time as well,
hold back on
rather
that.
than tie
Don't take my
down
word for
to,
it.
winning multiple championships,
We'll
winning
probably hear more,
awards.
but I'm pretty sure it's
You
going to be
need
60
to
frames per
feel like
second.
you are a gold legacy
1080p
player
and I think
in the NHL.
4K
Shifting off of franchise mode,
at 30.
let's start with expansion and
Here we go.
Seattle Kraken.
Obviously, this year with the Seattle team actually expanding into the league, we wanted to allow the user to either pick their own team based off
the rivalries.
the authentic expansion protection list that team submitted, or they can use an automated system based off of what the CPU generates, which is different from time to time, and then they can pick a new and brand new unique team. On top of that, as you saw, you're also able to expand into the league as a 33rd NHL team, which is something that we wanted to keep as an option, because before we had, the NHL had 31 teams and you can extend it to 32nd. We wanted to allow the user to kind of have that custom team and have that custom team.
I wonder if you can
as
choose,
a part of the NHL. So we wanted to
your
keep
own
that
team, like the
exclusive
Canucks,
for
for
the fans
example, and then
that
still
love
get that
the
33rd team,
32nd
and you don't have to be that
expansion
33rd team.
mode as a mode for them to continue to keep playing and allow them to keep that creativity and customization that they loved putting into those teams and put them into their franchise mode. We also added in a setting as a part of the 33 team expansion draft where you can exempt Seattle or have Seattle partake in it. So it's totally up to you. Obviously, Vegas was exempt from the Seattle expansion draft. We wanted to kind of give users the option to play it how they want to, with the ability to exempt Seattle or not.
Now, in terms of how XFactors make their way to franchise mode, it all starts with the draft. Can you explain what players will have to look out for when drafting players now?
Yes, so we've added a brand new scouting report to franchise mode called XFactor Report, and the XFactor Report is there to kind of tell you if a player is an X-Factor. So this applies for both amateur and pro players. So, in years past, you only had the 3 tabs for the amateur report. You now have a 4th tab called X-Factors. And in here, you'll see what X factors a potential player has in the draft. And in the earlier rounds, you'll see more players with X factors. And then as you get into the deeper rounds, you may find a player that has a decent potential or a lowly potential with an X factor. And that may be a gem that you would want to pick. So you'll start seeing players in the later rounds potentially have 1, maybe 2 X factors. They may not be zone abilities, they may be superstar abilities, but they do have a big impact in how you build your team. So you want to be able to kind of draft these players so that you're able to maximize your team chemistry as well.
So X Factors now play into your overall line chemistry when you're creating your team.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do is, in years past, we had player type kind of be a very important factor for line chemistry, and what we want to do is kind of take it to the next step.
What the hell? Puller RV on the 4th, Hyman on the 3rd. Jeez. It's just random lines. It's the default, right? Well, actually, that shouldn't be the default, but it is. But we'll see what happens in franchise mode.
So what we also did was we kind of expanded the range on chemistry, so you'll see a lot more positive and negative chemistry balances, as well.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Just the balance between how much an X factor can overcome some other deficiencies. So having players on your even strength lines have 3 X factors that are all work together can overcome poor line fit as well. So it does allow you for a little bit more of a grace if you have players that have very similar X factors or work compatible X factors that work well with one another.
Do X factors affect more than just 5v5 lines, like the penalty kill and power play as well?
Certain X factors help outside of just 5-on-5 lines, such as 1T, which also helps out on the power play. Others may not help in certain situations either, so certain offensive X factors won't help out on the penalty kill and vice versa. So different line combinations, different lineups have different chemistry outcomes based off of the X factors that they have.
Not a bad.
So if you do have an X factor, it is
3 pairs for Seattle.
But if your players don't have a lot of X factors, you won't be necessarily negatively impacted by it. The other factors still contribute a good chunk of your chemistry. So, even if you
I'll probably start at preseason. I probably won't start at the draft and protecting players. I'm pretty sure you can start at the preseason.
+1 chemistry or 0 chemistry.
So I don't want to have to go through protecting any players or anything.
how those players kind of go together. You can still have decent chemistry as a result.
We actually have one final feature that we're working to bring to NHL 22 post-launch. It's something you guys have been asking for a very long time now.
I think this is it.
For the NHL series. Gurn, can you do the honors of unveiling exactly what I'm talking about?
So I'm very excited to tell the community that we are planning on releasing roster sharing as a part of NHL 22 this year. We're going to allow the users to upload and share their roster files throughout the community and import them into franchise mode and playing with their favorite rosters from the community in their favorite mode. The roster sharing feature, we know the community has been asking for a very long time. It has been on the top of our list to do, in all honesty, because it is such a fan-driven, requested feature that, you know, you see all over our forums, our Reddit communities, on Twitter, and we know it's really important to you guys, and it is something that we wanted to deliver, and, you know, we're really happy to be delivering it this year, just because, you know, it adds so much to the franchise mode experience. It allows you to kind of share and build a brand new community within our game, which is really cool to see. And it's really awesome to be able to kind of give our fans that tool to build and share amongst themselves for the first time in the NHL series.
When can players expect to get their hands on roster sharing?
We're expecting to have our roster sharing feature around the December timeframe. It is something that we are working hard towards, that is for sure.
So if I get the game at launch and start creating a roster, will I be able to upload that for others once the patch goes live?
Yes, so the plan is to allow you to start creating your roster.
That's good. That's what I wanted to clarify.
When the game launches, and then be able to upload your favorite roster that you want to
the
community once the roster update feature goes live in that patch.
For those who don't know what roster sharing is or how it works, can you explain to them the possibilities you'll have now that roster sharing will be in 22?
Of course. So there's 4 key points of roster sharing. So there is the ability to save your file to be uploaded. So you take your offline file and then you would use the save file screen to save your file to be uploaded. Then you can go into your upload files or your share file screen, and then you can share your files, give it a description, and, you know, say it may be something like the greatest prospect potential roster update ever, which inclines that, hey, you created a bunch of or edited a bunch of prospects for the draft and franchise mode, and you're able to then upload it and then have people download it. When people download the file, they're able to either give it a like and to kind of help it become a higher rated file. You'll also be able to view how many times that file's been downloaded as well as liked. And then once you've uploaded or you
the only thing is for me, I'll probably play franchise mode day one when NHL comes out. Well, without early access, obviously, because I'm going to get the physical copy. But when it does come out, yeah, like the feature's not going to be available for me. So whatever the roster is on opening night for the NHL and for the game, that's the roster I'm going to be playing with. And if any trades are made after that, hey, I am not in control of that. So, but I am happy for those who are going to be able to get NHL in December and be able to take advantage of this feature. I think it would be pretty good.
It's really exciting for us on the dev team. So as a part of your uploads or your downloads, you're able to kind of edit your players or create new players and give them different ratings, different attributes, different X factors, whatever it may be, and upload them in. And you know, so if you want to do a unique overall scale, you can do that. If you want to change potentials of players, you can do that. If you want to give them certain X factors, you can do that. The purpose of the feature is to allow the community to drive what is popular and allowing them to kind of pick and choose what they want that is best for their franchise mode and allow them to kind of really enhance their experience within that mode.
There you have it, roster sharing coming to NHL 22. This was such a community-inspired feature, and I'm really excited that we were able to implement it this year. Thanks again to Gurn for walking us through all those features, and we'll see you October 6th for our final deep dive into Hockey Ultimate Team. See ya!
Alright, not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, let's pause that for now. Okay, I can tell you one thing. I am pretty excited for after what I saw with the initial overhead gameplay that I uploaded the previous week. Can't wait to see what franchise mode is all about. I do like that it is going for a more lighter tone in terms of overall visuals in terms of the menu and everything. Roster sharing, like I mentioned, is probably one of the biggest features you're going to be getting next to XFactors. To be able to implement XFactors onto players and then upload those rosters is a pretty tempting feature, but at the same time, I'm already going to be starting my franchise mode on day one when the game comes out. So that's the only problem that I'm going to be seeing. I'm probably going to end up doing, like a franchise mode with 32 teams, obviously, and then going out of my way to make sure I play every single game rather than simulating anything. So I probably end up doing anywhere from 4 to 5 episodes of NHL 22. The reason why I'm talking about this right now because I won't be able to, react to the Ultimate Team because it's not kind of really what I'm kind of going for, right? I don't really play Ultimate Team, so that's why I'm not going to be reacting to that particular deep dive on the 6th, I believe he said. So when the game does eventually come out in mid-October, I'll be basically setting up my franchise. I'll be streaming, setting up my franchise and streaming 1 or 2 games per episode. And yeah, we'll pretty much go from there. I don't think there's really much more to talk about in terms of, the NHL roster sharing franchise and plus Be a Pro. Be a Pro, which is something that I've been wanting to get into. But I get my fill of Be a Pro from Nasher. He does a great job. So I just watch his videos, and fill that hole from him. And then me myself play franchise mode. Every now and then, I might play on some 3-on-3, money puck, a few money puck games just to, get, have a little bit more open space to be able to, practice skill moves and stuff. I think that is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, which I've not been focused on as much. I've been more of a passer, one-timer, maybe a spinorama, maybe some backwards skate, quick turns, and score kind of guy. I wouldn't really use big moves, but XFactors could, possibly get me back into that, right? And it also depends on what team you choose. And if I'm choosing the Canucks, yeah, there's a lot of younger guys, but it does, it will, it will come into, what will come into play is the fact that you're gonna, are the teams that you're gonna be playing with that have more XFactors, right? But at the same time, we'll see how that goes. And yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it. I think we pretty much covered everything we needed to cover. I did some commentary throughout. Can't wait for NHL to come out. It is already October 4th. I can't believe time has flown by. Can't wait to play it. And I think this will be pretty much my last reaction to NHL 22 before the game comes out. There's a possibility that when my birthday comes around, yes, my birthday is close to the end of the month, I might be playing possibly some Far Cry. I don't know yet. You gotta make those lists sometime and hope for the best. But hopefully I can get my hands on Far Cry. If not, I'm gonna stick with NHL for the next few months, maybe close to the end of the year, actually, to the end of the summer. I'm probably gonna end up playing all the way through summer. I'm gonna try to get maybe 200 episodes in. Like I've never, that is daunting if you think about the number, and doing consistently episodes. But I wanna put myself into it and actually give streaming a shot and uploading gameplay a shot. So yeah, I'll be streaming maybe 4, maybe 5 times a week, playing a couple games per stream. So that's going to be like almost 10 games of my franchise mode a week, with some episodes focusing more on trade deadline, obviously the off season just I go nuts with. Sometimes the off season I end up doing 3-4 hour streams. That's what I did, I think, if you go back to my channel. But hey, enough about that. I'm going to keep going. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe underneath. Ring the bell to get the latest notifications. Also, go to my Facebook page and follow me there and like there. And honestly, we are done here. So thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you guys soon again. Take care.